BBOR Black Box Online Radio, coming to you from West Virginia. BlackBoxNed88 on Instagram for the bonus podcast. And just a quick reminder, every Monday is Zodiac Mondays. Wednesday is an Ask Me Anything. That's an AMA, so please drop your questions below for things that you would like discussed here on the show. And Friday is an Anything Goes. Any subject is fair game, mostly talking about true crime, serial killers, the Zodiac Killer, but any subject is welcome. All right, so please share some ideas in the comment section about what you would like to hear about on this channel, and let's get started. Okay, hello everybody. Today is Wednesday. Welcome to the show. This is going to be a lighter episode because it is now October and the leaves are really starting to change here in West Virginia. The fall season is almost at its peak. I think we got about 1 week until we truly will have the colors absolutely everywhere. It is one of the best times of year, and it's also about 3 weeks before Halloween. I love Halloween. I can't wait for it, to be honest. And I thought that we could do an episode that would be more about fall, Halloween, October-related issues, as opposed to all of the true crime stuff that I normally talk about here on BlackBoxOnlineRadio. And there's still some technical difficulties going on with the website LaunchPad 1, which is what I use to share this as a podcast. You can download the audio version of most of the episodes of this year are available on LaunchPad 1. There's a link to that in the description box. However, as soon as that is fixed, I'll try to get all the recent episodes uploaded over there. And as always, you can go over to Amazon.com and look at the book Killer on a White Horse by me, Ned DeHaan. It is a novel murder mystery inspired by the Zodiac Manson connection, however, purely fictional. And there's always the TeeSpring page. Feel free to have a look at some of the merchandise, and remember, being weird is not a crime. So somebody posted this on Facebook, actually, and it is the October Horror Challenge. And if there is an answer to any of these questions, I would like you guys to respond in the comment section down below. Absolutely any of them are welcome. Think of them all as challenge questions. Or if there's just something in particular that you would like to share about these subjects, I want to hear from you, or read your comments down below, rather. The first one is, what is your favorite movie from the Halloween franchise? And the simple answer is, of course, Halloween from 1978 by John Carpenter. I mean, it's kind of weird to say, like, by him his movie. I mean, John Carpenter's 1978 Halloween film, of course the first one, but the 1988 sequel, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, that is a pretty excellent piece of horror cinema. For years, though, I defended Halloween 5 as being a good film. Part of the reason was, it was the first film that I ever saw from the Halloween franchise, all about Michael Myers and Jamie Lee Curtis, and then she goes on to have a daughter who is named Jamie as well, but, I mean, her character's name is Laurie Strode, and the daughter is named Jamie Lloyd. But I saw Halloween 5 on the television back in high school. I had a friend who was pretty into the Halloween franchise, and he talked to me about it a lot, and I watched Halloween 5, and I thought that it was just so badass. I had seen it a couple times on TV after that, because for some reason the AMC channel would always play Halloween 4 and Halloween 5, but back in 2019, I just decided to watch both of them. It was in the afternoon, I had nothing else to do, and when I watched them back to back, Halloween 4 and Halloween 5, I was like, Halloween 4 is an excellent film. That is a good horror film. Halloween 5 looks terrible in comparison. I've always loved that film, but sorry to say. So, the next question is, what is your favorite movie from the 1970s? Trick question again, because it would be Halloween. But, what are your top 3 favorite death scenes? And I'm going to try and include these because I previewed this question, and I've thought about this, and I would invite all of you to recommend some death scenes that you've seen. If you like horror movies, if you don't, then maybe you can just share some particular things that you have seen in movies that you want to put out there. But number one, would be the eyeball murder scene in the movie Stitches. Number 2 would be the bathtub scene in Jack Frost. They made a couple movies using the title Jack Frost. One of them is with Michael Keaton. I think it's a family film. I haven't seen it. But there is a Jack Frost horror film, and there's this really weird bathtub scene where the premise of that movie is Jack Frost is a serial killer, but then some type of dark twisted magic happens, and he becomes a serial killer who can inhabit water molecules. Like, he can become ice and he can become water, and when they destroy him, he just melts, but then when he freezes again, he comes back to normal. It's kind of like the T-1000 in Terminator 2, except with water as opposed to liquid metal or whatever that was. It's been a long time since I've seen Terminator 2. The bathtub scene in Jack Frost, though, was something like that I've never seen before. And the third one would be the umbrella kill in Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. Silent Night, Deadly Night is somewhat of an on-edge film. I guess there are Christmas horror films, but Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 was my favorite film for a while. For about 2 years, I just simply love that. It's the one that has the famous garbage day scene, but there's just so many gems in that where the umbrella kill scene happens right after the protagonist says, "Sounds like a squirrel was getting his nuts squeezed." And yeah, that's just so unbelievably wonderful. You gotta wonder, though, like, when they were making movies in the 70s and 80s, were they intentionally trying to be bad? Were they waiting for the internet to come around just so then this film could be reborn online and become a cult classic? I think they were. But some things like Halloween, Friday the 13th, oh, they knew they were creating horror masterpieces. Even Nightmare on Elm Street, all of that, they knew that they were making real horror films. But with some of these things, I said Silent Night, Deadly Night, or what's that other one, Laser Blast or something like that, they knew that these films were going to suck. In their contemporary area, looking back on it 20, 30 years later, I'm like, I love that movie. You love it because it has that awesomely bad quality, but I will always remember the line from the film Ghost World, "This is so bad it's skipped good and gone back to bad again." That's paraphrasing, but I think it's somewhat in the ballpark. The next question is, oh my gosh, I forgot, I wanted to say, there's an honorary fourth best kill scene, because I was talking a lot about the movie Halloween. One of my absolute favorite parts of that movie is Michael Myers kills a guy, and he just drives a knife into a person and nails the person to the wall, more or less, and then just looks with a sense of curiosity at the person he just killed, and I just thought it was so unbelievably mysterious. But that one is not so outrageous like the other ones that I just listed off. What is your favorite scary TV series? Now, this is a hard one because I don't watch too many TV series that are horror-related. I tried watching a little bit of Freddy's Nightmares, but there was this one on the TV called Millennium that I saw. It came on after the X-Files when I was a kid, and they did some really creepy episodes, but there was also Brimstone that came on after Millennium. I didn't watch Brimstone, mind you, but yeah, Millennium had some real creepy episodes. And believe it or not, this isn't really horror, but The Twilight Zone had a lot of episodes that really kind of had that creepy edge to them. I wouldn't call The Twilight Zone horror, however. So, what is your favorite movie sequel? Well, I said a lot of good things about Halloween 4, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, but I think the absolute best sequel of all time is Troll 2. And I don't think they ever made Troll 2 Part 2, but there is a film called Under Control that features one of the actors, and they made a documentary about Troll 2 called Best Worst Movie Ever. I absolutely love Troll 2 because, firstly, there are no trolls in the film. It's about goblins from the town of Nilbog, which is goblin spelled backwards, yet it's called Troll 2, and it has such great lines like, "They're eating her, and then they're gonna eat me. Oh my God!" And perhaps even better, "You can't piss on hospitality, I won't allow it." The lead actor, George Hardy, more or less retired from film for a great period of time, and then he did a movie called Texas Cotton, which was a highly underrated drama. They tried to recreate the Western feel for a contemporary movie about in small town Texas. It's like if it were a spaghetti Western but made in the contemporary era. I was pleasantly surprised by that film, and it's one of those movies where it's a little bit predictable. You know what's going to happen, but you want to see how it plays out. Like a lot of these horror films and the slashers, very formulaic. You know who's going to survive, you know how they're going to survive, but at the same time, you are still quite curious how it's all going to play out. What is your favorite sci-fi horror? I don't think this counts as horror, but I mean, is this even sci-fi? Yeah, I guess so. Terminator 1. I don't think that's a horror film. The reason why I'm putting that up there is it's one of the best performances from Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he is often praised for his role in Terminator 1 more so than Terminator 2 because he truly put on the presence of a humanoid robot. Like, if he were some type of killing machine but that is pretending to be human, then that's what it would look like, Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 1. It's like how they said Mark Zuckerberg looks like a guy who is trying to survive the zombie apocalypse. He got bitten by a zombie, but he doesn't want anyone else in the group to know he's trying to hide it. Okay, well, Arnold Schwarzenegger would be like that, except he's a humanoid robot. Then he went on to do a whole bunch of other things, like Jingle All the Way, a film that I love. And Kindergarten Cop, did he do that one? I haven't seen that one, but in the 1990s, after Terminator 2, his films became much lighter. What is the worst horror movie sequel? This one I do know. Halloween 6. And it's actually just called Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers, because, as I said, there were all of these mysterious elements to the Halloween franchise. And in Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers, they tried to answer the questions about all of these mysterious things that I just loved about how they didn't have explanations for it. They left it up to the viewer to interpret all of the clues, but then they revealed them all in Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. I'm like, oh, that is so lame. They did some of that in Halloween 2 as well, but another sequel that is really, really bad is Friday the 13th Part 9, Jason Goes to Hell, that was made in between Jason Takes Manhattan and Jason X, because they switched production companies from Paramount to New Line. It was annoying, it was unattractive, it was sloppy. Absolutely did not like that film at all. I've seen most of the Friday the 13th films. What is your favorite Stephen King movie? I guess I'm supposed to say The Shining, right? I was told, though, that Stanley Kubrick directed The Shining, and Stephen King really did not like it because it deviated a lot from the book. But this is also going to sound a little bit weird, because I wouldn't say this is my favorite, but I would share with you that I really like the film Cujo, about the rabid Saint Bernard, because when I was reading the description of the book or the story that Stephen King had written, it's all about supernaturalism and how Cujo the Saint Bernard is possessed by the spirit of a killer. But when I watched the movie, I was thinking that I really liked how realistic it was, about how it's just dealing with real life elements and turning that into a horror film, and something that could possibly happen to a real person. Now, this is not a movie, but this is a mini-series. Stephen King also did Storm of the Century, and when I was a teenager, I watched that miniseries on TV. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was badass, and the villain in that one is named Andre Lenoge, but Lenoge is actually a scrambled version of Legion. I just thought that was so cool, but I don't think I would like it as an adult, let's just say that. What is your favorite 1960s horror movie? Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, because that is one of the few films that actually scared me. Like, I was watching it on TV once. I think it was on Halloween, nonetheless, because I had no plans for some reason. Hard to believe, right? No, but I had no plans, so I was just sitting at home watching Psycho on TV. And I remember just thinking, oh my gosh, I have to change the channel. I'm so scared of what's going to happen. Because the thing with Alfred Hitchcock, much more so than these slasher films, is that he tried to get inside your psychology. He wants to make you afraid about what's on the other side of the wall, and it's brilliant. Brilliant filmmaker. But what movie being released this month are you most excited for? Halloween Kills, of course. What is your favorite Friday the 13th movie? Hands down, 100%, Friday the 13th Part 5. I know that there's some issues that people would have with the storyline, and I don't give away movie spoilers, but I think that it is absolutely the most entertaining. I love the dry humor. I love the rough-edged humor. It's a horror film, but it also has, I guess you'd say, some spunk to it. Now, number 14 is New It or Old It. I only saw some of the Old It. I didn't see the New It, so I guess I have to say the Old It. What is better, Final Destination or The Ring? Oh, The Ring, absolutely. The Ring is, a little bit terrifying. Final Destination, sure, it's an entertaining film, and I saw Final Destination 2 many times, but absolutely The Ring is a better piece of cinema, so says me. Favorite paranormal movie? Oh, this is hard because, as I said with horror films, I really thought that something like Cujo was good because they didn't include any of those paranormal things, but The Shining would definitely be somewhat paranormal, but that's mostly about a descent into madness where you think that is paranormal. Here's a controversial opinion that I got caught up with. Some people really do not like it when I say this, but The Shining and Misery, another film based on Stephen King's writing, they're essentially the same story. The difference is, in The Shining, a writer is locked away from civilization, and he goes crazy. In Misery, a writer is cut off from civilization, and he's with someone who goes crazy. And they have very similar, developments. In Misery, there's this police officer that is trying to find James Caan's character, and as soon as, anyway, this guy's trying to track him down, then he gets murdered, let's just say that. And in The Shining, it's like a guy's on vacation in Florida, then he goes back to Colorado, and he's just trying to track down Jack Nicholson, and then he ends up dying too. Okay, I said I didn't give away spoilers, but I totally did. Anyway, they're very, very similar structures, but I loved both of them. I mean, just because they're similar structures doesn't make them bad movies. In retrospect, it seems like, come on, dude, do something different. But the next question is, what is your favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake? I don't know what you mean, remake? Am I supposed to choose, the beginning versus the Jessica Biel one they did? I guess, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, if you count the sequels, is a pretty good horror film. I saw that on Halloween about maybe 3 years ago. I thought that one was awesome. I mean, very good. What is your favorite Steven Spielberg sci-fi movie? Oh, it doesn't say that I have to choose a horror film. So can I say E.T.? I'll just say that. What is the most iconic horror movie scene? The shower scene in Psycho. Absolutely. And remember, who was the actress who was the stand-in for the shower scene? Marlee Renfro. Janet Leigh's the lead actress in Psycho, and she had two stand-ins. When she did the stand-in for the clothes scenes was named Myra Davis, who was murdered in 1988 by Kenneth Dean Hunt. And the stand-in for the shower scene was Marlee Renfro, a former Playboy playmate, who also did the Francis Ford Coppola film Tonight for Sure, which is available on YouTube for free. And Robert Graysmith went on to write a book about Marlee Renfro called The Girl in Alfred Hitchcock's Shower, and Graysmith was up to his old tricks again by blending in two different stories that don't really belong together. I have an episode about the murder of Myra Davis and the story of Marlee Renfro under that title, talking about how, because Janet Leigh had two body doubles, for a while people were even reporting that it was Marlee Renfro who had been murdered in 1988, but it was in fact Myra Davis. The next question is, what is your favorite horror movie spoof? Oh, 100% Scary Movie. Should I really say anything other than that? Although I saw the film Scary Movie before I saw the film Scream, and I had no idea that Scream is like overwhelmingly the source material. I caught a lot of the horror movie references as well as the Dawson's Creek reference in Scary Movie, and I knew that the lead character is named Cindy Campbell, which is based on Sidney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell. Yeah, okay, I could figure that out, even though I hadn't seen the movie Scream. But I just, I didn't realize that it's like 95% based on the movie Scream. And they even talk about that in the film, but I didn't catch it at the time. I loved Scary Movie 1, though. Scary Movie 2, it's okay. Scary Movie 3, and so on. From that point on, I just think that they went a little bit off the rails and not in a good direction. What is your favorite horror movie quote? I shot him 6 times. Freddy or Jason? I think that... No, I have to say Jason. Freddy can be really annoying sometimes with his dialogue. Ridley Scott or John Carpenter? John Carpenter. What is your favorite character from Stranger Things? I guess I would have to say 11. Yeah, Millie Bobby Brown. But there is a close second, and that is Will Byers, because he represents childhood, coming of age, and recognizing that a lot of the things that you did during your childhood were a little bit silly, and also resenting other people for growing up and you got kind of left behind. I think that there's a lot of psychological elements that go along with Will Byers. 11 is the most badass character, of course. What is your favorite CGI monster? My immediate instinct, the absolute first one that I thought of, was the Basilisk in Harry Potter. But then I was like, there's also that series Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And there's this one character named Credence. What did he have? Like, he connects with the Shadow Monster. I think that's what they call it. That looked pretty cool. What is the best vampire movie? Blackula. Oh, but there's also a film called Deathula about a deaf vampire, and I think the piece of trivia connected to it from the last time I read a bazillion years ago is that Deathula was actually the first film completely shot in American Sign Language, or where ASL is the dominant language in the movie. Deathula. I've seen some of it on YouTube. It's pretty cool. What is your favorite Jason mask? Jason X. Might as well. Might as well. Camp Crystal Lake turns into the Crystal Lake Research Facility. I mean, why not? And what is your favorite horror monster from before 1960? Oh my gosh, before 1960. See, this is a problem, because I'm tempted to say the Phantom of the Opera, but I don't want to put him as a monster because he's just a disfigured guy. Now, somebody told me this, a family member who was in medical school, that the way that Lon Chaney did his makeup for the Phantom of the Opera would actually be someone who had congenital syphilis. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Like congenital syphilis, like his parents had syphilis and he was born with a disfigured face. I was like, what? That's what the Phantom of the Opera is? That's why this guy has to live underneath an opera house? Because his parents had syphilis? Are you having a laugh or something? It's like, no, that's what happens. Like, ugh. Ugh. But anyway, on to the next question. There is one that says at the end, what do you want to be for Halloween this year? I'm going to try Frankenstein, and yes, of course, Frankenstein's monster, but I think in the popular lore, we simply say Frankenstein, referring to Frankenstein's creation, the modern Prometheus. I've talked about this a lot on the Instagram journals, but I really like how you can just go to Walmart or maybe like Family Dollar or a similar store, and they sell these like $5 grease makeup kits that have multicolored makeup. Sometimes you can get specialist ones for things like Frankenstein or a vampire. They got the little plastic fangs. But I always like the idea of using grease makeup because as a dude, it's the one time of the year when I actually get to wear makeup and it's not weird, but also because you are in costume, but you still look like you. In 2018, I was a devil. In 2019, I was a ghost, and all of that stuff was, well, it's like that. You still have your same facial features, but you are obviously in costume, excuse me, if I could speak the English language. But I have a couple of questions for you guys. The first is, somebody asked me this recently. When you were growing up, did you ever play the game, What's in Ned's Head? And I was like, no, I've never heard of that. And he asked me, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 33. He's like, you should remember it. It was a kid's game that they had called What's in Ned's Head? And that's a challenge question in itself. Have you ever heard of that one? I looked it up. This looks absolutely disgusting. I'm ashamed to share the name Ned with something so weird and wacky. But I also have another one for you. Did you ever did you ever watch the show Ned's Newt? That one I did watch growing up just a little bit. Like, they would play that one with Life with Louie, like the Louie Anderson kids show. Did you ever see that one? Because I thought that Ned's Newt just wasn't quite that funny. It had some elements of a show like Bobby's World, but Bobby's World is one of the best kids' cartoons there ever was. So I would love to hear what you guys have to say about Halloween, horror films. I think that there are a lot of good questions out there. These were mostly about horror movies, but sometimes people want to ask very challenging questions about October and Halloween, like, what do you think about death and such? But we can always keep it light for one day a year. So please share anything you want in the comments section. Anybody can write the show at BlackBoxOnlineRadio@AOL.com. That's all for me now. See you on Instagram for the bonus podcast, and until next time.